Alabama group. I'm not. I've been a fan since day one, and I never gave up on him. So I'm glad to see him finally getting some love that he deserves, as well as just talking about Alabama practice as things have gotten kicked off. But as we get ready to get started, remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be of someone, teach someone, read someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. I am now officially joined by Martin. How you doing this morning, Dad?
Doing great. Thanks for kicking things off. Good morning, guys. Good morning, gals and friends and pals. So, going to be a great show today. Thanks everyone for joining us this morning. We'll figure out things as we keep moving along. Thank you all so much. It was a great time we had last night with Reese Davis. Not going to be able to get the audio in and limited on the phone calls today as well. But hey, you can always chat us up. And if you have a question, you'll have to just kind of hold off on that. And because we're utilizing our phone lines to operate our show, because we do have DC joining us this morning, and I'm working around my normal way of doing things this morning, calling in on the phone lines to avoid any technical issues this morning. So until we get things worked out. So good morning. But man, a lot, and I do want to apologize that I had gotten some misinformation. The person gave me the wrong name. It was actually the rotation that we had from the spring game. It was Milroe, then Ty Simpson, and then Tyler Buckner was the rotation. Buckner did not supplant Ty Simpson in the summer. And as a matter of fact, when I talked to someone else in person versus just via text communication, they said Buckner kind of stood off to the side and wasn't even a part of the team. So says that he has a long road. But we got DC X and DC even getting some more information about one of the other quarterbacks that technically everybody loves, but could be a mixed bag on him as well. So let's go ahead and bring DC into the conversation. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Mark. Good morning, X. Doing great this morning. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing good.
Well, before we get into any of that NFL conversation and all of that, I know a lot of people wanting to talk about this past weekend and spring practice. DC, and then I'll circle back to you, X. What are you hearing from the first, I guess, pseudo scrimmage? Other than it was hot.
It was hot. Yeah, no doubt it was hot. And, I'm hearing a lot of, I guess what I call reports back from people that I know that win or that are in the inside that do different talking. And I have to filter through those, Martin, because some of it's fan talk and some of it's actual people who in the know and that sort of thing. But general overall perspective was it was really didn't get a whole lot of information. It really wasn't something that showed you a lot. It was the first fan day type thing we've had since COVID, I think. And it was more on the lines of an A-day where you see a lot of workouts and a lot of groups and different things. But if you look, there's a lot of things going on at one time, in other words. So all across the field, you had to really tune in to see. So I got bits and pieces from a lot of folks. One thing I did get was that there seemed to be an up-tempo buy-in from the entire team. There seemed to be different vibes of this team. It seemed to be a very crisp, very disciplined run through for the entire day, and I think that's an improvement over last year. And then the other thing I think jumped out at me was, and several people talking about, of course, the quarterback, and it looks like that Milroe is still the one getting the first team reps. Ty Simpson is the second team. And then Tyler Buckner is a distant third. When I say distant end, he wasn't in a lot of team drills. He was off to the side. interesting thing is I had three different people who went talk about how Milroe was leading and how Simpson was in second. And I had three different people tell me that Dylan Lonergan looked better than most of the quarterbacks, had a better presence about him, had crisper throws, had better carried himself in a way that looked like a leader. And there was three different people that didn't know each other that it was just randomly telling me when I'd ask about what you think about the quarterbacks. And so I found that interesting. That I would get that back from three different people. And I think you have heard that from others. But maybe the thing with him, he's a freshman, he may not get the nod. And I had to remind them, that there was another freshman that came in that started turning heads. And if he did enough, he had enough athletic ability to do it, then it's hard to keep you off the field. That was Jalen Hurts, of course. When he didn't start against USC, but he did come in and end up being the starter that year and had a great career. Went on to have a great career in the NFL. So I'm not sure how to make it out of Dylan Lonergan. You may have an opinion as to why he's being talked about when it doesn't appear that he has a chance to win the starting job.
Yeah. X, I'll let you share what you've heard, and then I'll circle back on the Lonergan. My thoughts there.
Yeah, I was just talking to some people, and one guy that really stood out to me on his opinion, because it seemed to be a fair balance of when he talked about each quarterback in each situation. And that's former producer and one of the show hosts on this network is Joe Gaither. And he said it was a mixed bag. He said, as Coach Saban said, that there wasn't necessarily one guy that took the bull, that cake is still cooking, but he highlighted good plays and bad plays from each quarterback from when I talked to him, as far as the Milroe and the Simpson conversation. Buckner from him seems to still be a distant third, as DC said. But he said the aggressiveness of the offensive line is something that he really enjoyed watching this past weekend. And talking to other people that were there, it seems to be down between Milroe and Simpson. But DC, I did hear a lot of good things about Dylan Lonergan as well. Seems like he's a guy that, because of his ranking and the guys that were in front of him, coming in with an Eli Holstein who was rated a good bit ahead of him, he seems to just be doing all the little things right. And he might not get a shot, but you never know. As you said, Jalen Hurts came in. He was behind two or three guys, and Blake Barnett, David Cornwell, and Cooper Bateman. And next thing you know, he was the second quarterback off the bench against USC and ended up being the starter the rest of the season. So it is just a little interesting to play out, but it does appear to be between Milroe and Simpson for the most part right now.
Yeah, and the Lonergan conversation is gonna catch wind, and it's gonna hype, and it's gonna be interesting how much it gets compared to the Jalen Hurts conversation. Probably a couple reasons why it may get compared to the Jalen Hurts conversation is because it's been about that long, guys, I guess, since we've had had a quarterback competition, right? It's been that long since we've had a legit competition. And so that's probably in and of itself one of the reasons you'll see it be compared in some ways to that, because since Jalen, won that job, Alabama's kind of known who the guy was. But I think there's some other reasons, I think, other than that Lonergan is getting this. And so this is not going to be a knock on Lonergan. It's going to be the way college football kind of works out, the way young guys work out. And so I don't want to short this conversation. So let's go to break and come back on the other side. I want to talk about Lonergan. I want to talk about something Reese Davis said last night at the men's event we were able to be at last night, the Pigskin Classic. I want to give a shout out to University Church of Christ for hosting an event that had about 500 men over at it. And Ryan Fowler, here of the game, interviewed, Terry Jones Sr., not junior, senior, and got some great stories from him that we'll get a good laugh about later on, right, DC? And,
That's right.
And then Reese said a couple things about the quarterback situation and about the SEC. But I'm gonna come back on the Lonergan thing and give you my thoughts there. So stay tuned, guys. You listen to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Have DC Capstone reporting in with us this morning.
Tide 100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a report of 2 wrecks on the interstate eastbound, one at exit 77, one at exit 76. Significant delays on the interstate and on US 11. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Get a $6,000 instant discount on all Nissan Titans and the heavy-duty Titan XD, plus 0% interest for up to 60 months at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray. In 1958, the world was introduced to Buddy Guy. Don't miss the legend is live. The Damn Right Farewell Tour. Saturday, September 2nd. Pearl River Resort Silverstar Convention Center. Tickets on sale now at pearlriverresort.com. The Damn Right Farewell Tour. Buddy Guy live. Keeping your kids safe is a full-time job, whether it's putting on outlet covers, installing child gates, or gluing down your priceless face. So Duracell made one part of childproofing simple. Our lithium coin batteries are the only ones coated in the non-toxic bitterant to help discourage swallowing. Your kid is safer, and you've got one less thing to worry about. Or glue down. Duracell, engineered for more. Available in 2032, 2025, and 2016 sizes. What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know? Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com. See America in your new Burton Campers RV. Be certain with Burton. Burton Campers at exit 231 on I-65 in Calera. Nobody sells RVs for less. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather. Not as hot today, partially sunny, the chance of a few showers or strong storms, mainly this afternoon or this evening. The high today 87, the low tonight 71. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds with scattered showers and thunderstorms around, the high 89. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 71 degrees in Tuscaloosa. Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show. The sound of Alabama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. It's the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. It's the fastest hour in sports radio. We got DC Capstone Report on with us, and we're able to do this each and every day because of the great folks over at Alabama One. We're making you a winner, getaway, giveaway, road tripping, spending the day on the water, or just trying to get out of town. Maybe you didn't get out of town before school started and you just want to get away for the weekend. You can get a gas card, weekly gas card for $100. You can get a weekend getaway, Airbnb style for $1,000. And in end of October, we'll be giving away a $5,000 gift card vacation package, $1 grand prize. Different ways to win. You can win via auto loan, rec loan, a small equipment loan, or you can open one of our deposit products with a 6-month minimum CD or our Send Fund account. Go to alabama1.org for more details. or stop by one of our branch locations and they will help you figure out how we can make you a winner. That's Alabama one together. What's your one? Okay, guys, I was setting up the question, the response to the Lonergan. Hey, listen, the young man is probably a really, really good athlete. I'm not sure he's in the category with Jalen yet, but he's been consistently in the conversation. But I want to tell everybody, pump the brakes. I need to bring that segment back, Xavier, because I have a feeling, DC, this year alone, we're gonna have to pump the brakes, not just on Alabama, on a lot of stuff throughout the college season. I used to do that a couple years back, pump the brakes, because folks just be jumping way out there like, oh man, this guy gonna win the Heisman, and he had one good week all year. So I'm going to tell everybody, not because I don't think Lonergan could end up being the guy, because if you go back and look at the history of Alabama quarterbacks, let's look at the history of Alabama quarterbacks. Jeff Dunn, what did he win? Nothing. Pump the brakes. But Gary Hollingsworth, woo, right? Vince Sutton, well, nothing. But big time. What was David Smith? DC, you're old enough to remember these guys. DC, you notice a pattern. DC, Danny Woodson.
Sure.
Danny Woodson. Nope. But Jay Barker. The guys that we all expect to be the superstars, they don't win anything in Alabama in recent history, right? It's always the other guy. So Lonergan could very well be that other guy while everybody talk about the guy. And we've seen it in recent history as well. But here's my thing. I always tell people it's almost like the difference between going from college to pros. People wonder sometimes y'all remember the Texas Tech guys and all of the great Big 12 quarterbacks that would go to the pros and then they never could make it? Anybody want to tell me the one Big 12 quarterback that's been good? Anybody know who it is? Patrick Mahomes, right? All the rest of them. Why? Because the speed of the DBs between college and the pros was the difference between you throwing the ball and it gets knocked down and it gets picked off. And the difference between the third team DB and you completing the pass in Kool-Aid McKinstry is pick six. And I'm not knocking Lonergan because he is throwing it to the right guy. Okay? But he is throwing it against who?
The backups.
You don't even know the name, see? Who's the DB playing against Lonergan? Who? I'm waiting.
That's a good question.
Who's the DB that he's completing those? And I'm not knocking him because here's the thing. He's a true freshman. And what he does have, and that's what DC, this is the point that I talked to DC, we talked about, is he's throwing it to the right guy. He has moxie. He has confidence. All the players respond when he comes in. He can't help it that he's throwing against young guys. So he has everything else, and that's what Jalen Hurts came here with. The question is, does he have the arm strength, and will he have the same effect if he gets against the older guys? And that's the question we don't know. See, DC, he doesn't care. He's already the fifth guy on the depth chart. So where's he going to fall if he takes a chance? Nowhere, right?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. He doesn't have anything to lose. I think that helps him. I think what I'm hearing is that Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson have everything to lose, and they are walking on the eggshells trying to make sure they don't make a mistake. And Dylan Lonergan is just going in with nothing to lose and playing football. And arm strength, I don't think it's questioning arm strength based on his baseball ability. I mean, another thing I was about him is he don't have to play football. He can play baseball in the pros right now and already been offered contracts to be gone if he wants to. Could have been gone once. So he's here because he wants to be here. He wants to play football, but he's always got something to fall back on. So he has a twofold, really, really nothing to lose type attitude, and sometimes that's good for you.
Right, and
people can't handle that.
Right.
And you understand that because you mentioned it when I talked to you before. You know, several people have said, well, he goes in there and plays like a Brett Favre. Well, what did Brett Favre do at Atlanta? Tell us, Martin. Tell our listeners, what did Brett Favre do at Atlanta?
He threw a bunch of interceptions, so the Atlanta Falcons traded him, and then he went up he went up to Green Bay and threw a lot of interceptions early, and he just kept getting better, and you'll take 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Early on, it was 5 and 5, but then it became 15 and 4, and then it became 20 and 3, and then it became, you see what I'm saying? He's always gonna. But what did I say the other day, X? And you may not even been on this day. I said the problem is they are coaching these guys to not make mistakes, so they're playing tight. They're young. They're gonna make mistakes. Tell them to go out and play football. And understand that mistakes are a part of it. Just don't be stupid. Just play, and that's what we have in Lonergan.
Correct. That's exactly correct. I think what people are seeing in Lonergan is he's not playing tight, just like you just said. I never say it as good as you have, Martin, but he's not playing tight, and the other guys are playing tight, and it makes a difference when you go out there and just play football.
And the other guys see that.
The reason I don't give him much chance is if he is throwing interceptions like you think a young guy will do, and that's not what Coach Saban's looking for. He's looking for somebody to take the ball and run the ball, I think, this year.
Keep going. Did we lose DC?
No, I mean, I think y'all are right, though, when you're talking about it. Lonergan is just slinging it. He's playing ball, everything like that. You hear so much because that's all you've heard is protect the ball. The guy that wins the job is going to be the guy that does the best job protecting the ball. But if that's the case, then you're going to turn around and that guy's going to be tight and not make a play in the right moment or not take the chance when it's actually there because he doesn't want to potentially mess this up or potentially do this. It's going to cost you a team. I mean, we saw this happen with Jalen Hurts. By the time Tua got here and Matt got here, he was so afraid of making a mistake because he didn't want to lose his job. He regressed his entire sophomore season. Jalen played amazing as a freshman. And we all look at the national championship game where he was playing against a veteran team and he still made the play that if the defense holds on, we win the game. Here's the game they said, Jalen, go play. Jalen, go do what you do, and he did it. But then Tua shows up in it. Tua showing up, different coordinator who didn't really want him, and he played within himself. He threw 17 touchdowns. I think he threw, 2, maybe 3 interceptions that year? But how much better would Alabama have been if Jalen played loose and threw for 27 touchdowns and 8 interceptions? How much better would that Alabama team have been in 2017?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that's and look, I am nobody to critique or criticize Coach Saban, but one of the things I've always said was the pressure of being a quarterback under the Coach Saban system of not making a mistake can be great, and everybody can't take that. Everybody can't take it and still play to their best ability. And I think that we've seen that before. Some great quarterbacks, and Jalen Hurts is one of those. We see him now being a great quarterback in the NFL. Of course, he learned a lot as he grew, but still, I think the pressure, really thwarted Jalen Hurts in his sophomore season. So, in saying that, that's the reason I say Dylan Lonergan is the name to watch, but not sure how much traction it's going to get going forward, just based on that all that idea of playing close to the vest
And like I said, I'm gonna give everybody to pump the brakes because our phone lines are not open because of the way we're having to do the show today. I got a text from Pat, so I want to read Pat's statement. Good morning, Dylan looked the best on A Day. I've said, why is Dylan not being mentioned in the conversation? Now he is all people are talking about. I'm gonna tell y'all need to listen. This is not to sound arrogant, but I played the game, guys. And I've been out there on the field. Lonergan is a true freshman that looks good, and he may be the guy, but he looks like the guy right now because he's the fifth guy on the depth chart. Okay, Lonergan is the guy that used to piss me off at practice. Let me just go and get real with you. Okay, Lonergan is the guy that when we put the pads on, that I would have to go to after practice and say, let me explain something to you, kid. If you do this one more time when we're doing 3/4 speed, I'm going to hurt you. We're trying to get our reps in, and I'm trying to take it easy on you. You understand what I'm trying to tell you, son? If we go out there one more time, we do a walkthrough, and I thud you up, and you shuck me off one more time, and run back there and hit Lassick or Chris I missed you, I'm gonna hurt you. And I'm not being ugly to Lonergan because he's doing some good things. And that's why I tried to point out both sides. He has moxie. He has leadership. He has confidence. He's not afraid. He is taking the bulls by the horns, DC, like we talked about. When he runs out there, the guys rally around him because he has no fear. The guys rally, but he is rallying a bunch of guys who are all hungry trying to win a job. He's not playing against Kool-Aid McKinstry. Everybody keeps saying he looked the best in the spring game. No, he didn't. The guy who looked the best in the spring game was when Jalen Milroe went against the same guys that Lonergan went against that one drive, and he took the team down the field that one drive in 3 plays. Does everybody remember that play? Anybody remember that drive?
Yeah.
What did Jalen Milroe look like when he went against the same? Well, actually, they were a little better than the guys that Lonergan was going against. DC, do you remember that drive?
I do. I remember. I was there.
Now, do you remember what Milroe looked like against those guys? Now, take that and extrapolate that to a whole game. That's what Milroe would have looked like. Guys, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't take a guy and put him against the third team guy that's made with walk-ons and freshmen who are trying to learn a team and automatically put him there on the execution of the play. What you can give him is the way he carries himself, the way he does. Lonergan, here's what and this is what I told DC last night, and we got to get the break. But listen, Bryce Young was so superior to the third team and the second team guys that it wasn't even fair. It was a waste of his reps a lot of times. But he wasn't ready to be the first team guy in front of Mac Jones. You see what I'm saying? Lonergan is clearly better than fifth on the depth chart as far as talent. But that don't mean that he's better than the guys in front of him. He could get bumped up to the...
That same thing, we heard the same thing about Mac Jones, though, right? Right, Mark?
Yeah.
We heard the same thing about Mac Jones when he came in there with all the moxie in the world and lit him up from the on the first team, from the scout team, where the former coach Saban said, "Hey, you need to stop throwing that ball there because we're trying to get this play right." He said, "Well, you get your defense to stop it, not quit throwing it there."
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of moxie, but he didn't start, right? How long did he wait? 4 years.
Right. And Virgil Williams said it best. Lonergan could be the next Mac Jones. Sit back and continue to improve and wait his turn. And that's what we have to.
Wait his turn.
And I'm not knocking Lonergan. I just want us to pump the brakes on that what we saw. It's good that we saw it because that means that he's better than the guys at his level. But to take him and think that the performance you saw automatically means that he's better than Ty Simpson or better than Jalen Milroe. It don't work that way. I'm telling you, Kool-Aid McKinstry, when you look at a guy that's open against a third-team DB, he is covered by Kool-Aid McKinstry. The close time, the break time,
I agree 100%.
the recovery time.
One thing it does tell us is the people who rate the 5-stars quarterbacks and people coming out doesn't have a measuring stick for moxie or how a football player. And I think that he probably is a lot better than people gave him credit for coming out of high school.
Correct.
And that's one thing we can agree on, I think.
Right. And he didn't play.
He also probably got a knock because he also got a knock because he's a baseball player.
And he's a multi-sport.
Opportunity to go pro straight out of high school.
And he's a multi-position guy. He didn't play just one position. They weren't even sure where he was going to be a quarterback or a DB or whatever. So there's a lot. But anyway, that's enough. Not enough. We can talk more about him. But I got to get the break here. I'm going to get in trouble with my producer. Come back on the other side. We'll keep the conversation going. I'm going to tell you what Reese Davis had to say. I'd like to get y'all's thoughts on that. So coming back on the other side, we'll keep the conversation going. Got DC Capstone report in with Martin and Xavier.
High 100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a report of 2 wrecks on the interstate eastbound, one at exit 77, one at exit 76. Significant delays on the interstate and on US 11. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Get a $6,000 instant discount on all Nissan Titans and the heavy-duty Titan XD, plus 0% interest for up to 60 months at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Everybody loves taco casa. Everything we do in our store, we prepare in our store. You know, we hand cut all of our tomatoes. We block and shred our own cheese here in the store. So we still hand cut our chips, our sopapillas, our taco shells, our chimalupa bowls. Our chili takes about 4 to 6 hours to make every single day. The goal in that is to provide the freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco casa, one of the biggest cactus in town.
Parents, are you tired of helping put your kids' shoes on? They're squirming, watching cartoons, anything but helping. Luckily, it's Skechers to the rescue. Introducing new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins, footwear you can just get your kids to step into and their shoes are on. You don't need to bend over. You don't need to sit on the floor and try to wrangle them on. And they're available in all types of Skechers styles with and without laces, and most are machine washable. Find Skechers Slip-ins for kids or mom and dad at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold. The all-new Nissan Ariya is a fully loaded EV. It's brimming with style and power.
Up to 389 horses of it.
Innovation and intelligence.
E-Force all-wheel drive.
It'll pin you to your seat.
Your favorite plush seat.
The all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya. E-Force cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. E-Force has 389 horsepower available on Platinum Plus. We found calculation using 1-foot rollout testing with long-range battery. E-Force only in sport mode with E-Step. All these results are for comparison only and should not be attempted on public roads. Drive responsibly. See NissanUSA.com for details.
The biannual blowout is just a week away, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Keenan's Drug Emporium is rolling out a Labor Day bonanza.
That flat meat shipment coming in.
He needs 10 new sales associates as the crowds loom large.
Someone run a stock check on all the Moroccan 8x10.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Having fun right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. It's a lot of fun, the fastest hour in sports radio. Don't have enough time to get it all in, but we try. We got DC in with us this morning. DC, tell us a little bit about your sponsors, sir.
Yeah, I'm always sponsored by RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com, and my sponsor allows me to be on and do a podcast each and every week is Karen Cottingham, realtor right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. She can sell houses for you and show you houses all across the state of Alabama. You can contact her. She's with the Williams Group at Keller Williams, 205-887-4008. You can contact Karen for all your real estate needs. And our podcast is up at DC Capstone Report, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. This week we had a conversation with Kennington Smith, the Alabama beat writer from The Athletic. Had a great podcast. So go out there and take a listen to it. We'd love for all the people to go out there and take a listen to the podcast this week. It'll be up each and every week until football season's over.
All right, and that's Karen Cottingham, 205-887-4008. All right, man. And lots of good conversation there. I love Lonergan, Moxie, and all of that. So I hope no one hears me being negative toward him. I haven't been negative toward him, have I? I'm just trying to pump the brakes. I don't want to put the wrong thing. The biggest thing I want people to walk away with here on DC and X is this. We coach these kids sometimes the wrong way. We tell them don't make mistakes. What was the first play Jalen Hurts made?
Fumble the ball.
And then he went and balled out, right?
Right.
And then once Nick Saban and his coaching staff saw how good this team was, how did they coach Jalen the rest of the year? Did Jalen play more and more loose or more and more tight?
I think it made him more and more tight.
More and more tight.
And then he proceeded. He played tighter and tighter for the next 2+ years, right?
Yep.
And then he lost his job. Next year and a half. Then he lost his job. Then we didn't see him play. And then he did what? He didn't have anything to lose. So he comes in and he balls out again, right?
Right.
Because he had nothing to lose.
Yep.
And he wins the SEC championship game. And then he goes out to Oklahoma where they do what?
Let him play loose.
Let him play loose. Then he goes to the pros and does what?
Dominates.
What
Let him do his thing.
What they tell him to do what? What's the instructions that they gave him? Play what? Football. And what did that
play your game?
Play your game. And exactly what did that result in this year? Jalen being what?
He's the MVP runner-up, Super Bowl appearance, just finished number 3, only behind Patrick Mahomes and Justin Jefferson in the NFL top 100.
Okay, now watch this.
And this is voted on by players, and this is a players list.
Right. Now, who did the Indianapolis coach go out and hire?
His OC.
The Eagles OC. Who did the Colts draft?
A bigger version of Jalen.
And what do you think they're going to do? Or you think they're going to try to make Anthony Richardson, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, or let him be Anthony Richardson? Now, I don't know how good he's going to be. But, I mean, he kind of got all the tools of Cam, Lamar, Jalen. I mean, he's the most athletic guy to ever play that position. And you have a guy. Yeah. So I circle back to Alabama, DC, and I ask you this. Reese Davis said something last night that I didn't realize. He said the only team to win the championship in the last few years that had an established, long-standing quarterback was out of the SEC. Now, not out of the. I don't think he was including Clemson because I think Deshaun won one, right? As the established quarterback for Clemson.
Yeah.
I don't think you went back as far as Deshaun. I think you were talking about Alabama, LSU. Georgia.
Right. Other than the Sun,
Ohio State and Georgia.
and that's what he said. Every one of them, with the exception of Deshaun, was a first-year quarterback or a quarterback battle in camp.
Yeah.
Other than LSU.
The quarterback was going to be from camp was LSU.
LSU, the only one.
The quarterback, because he was the guy.
Was Burrows.
Yeah.
So Alabama has a chance because they had a quarterback battle.
Yep. So did Georgia and Ohio State.
And the first year starter.
First year. Think about that. Is that not? Think about that for a second. Is that not the craziest thing ever, DC?
Yeah. It is. It is.
Yeah. So I'll ask you this, DC. If you have this Alabama offense, DC, reset one other thing. When asked about the SEC, when asked about the SEC, he was asked the following question: Who? Give me your thoughts on what he said about the SEC and who would win it. SEC and how you feel about it, and what was his assessment when he said they both have quarterback issues and LSU has star power, but they don't have the roster.
Yeah, he said it would come down to Georgia and Alabama. He thought LSU was good. He had a great coach, and didn't have the depth he thought that LSU and Alabama had.
That's all you got, DC? X, go ahead.
So he's not even giving. He's not even giving LSU a shot.
Yeah, he did.
He said the top three would be Alabama and Georgia and LSU. He thought it would come down to Alabama and Georgia. He said that.
Okay.
He said that Tennessee is kind of still out there. You kind of raved on Joe Milton. How great of a quarterback he was and great of an individual he was. But the remains to be seen. Tennessee had the different components to put there and a new offensive coordinator. But he still thinks it still comes down to Georgia and Alabama based on their talent. That they got more talent, and he thinks that they got more depth than LSU does. So I think that's kind of where he fell out, where he shook out those top three teams, and he thought that Tennessee was a fourth, but kind of fourth behind them. He thought that Georgia was going to lead the East, and that it'd be between Alabama and LSU, and Alabama would rise to the top and play Georgia for the championship again this year.
All right, hey, let's get the break. Come back on the other side. X, if you want to comment, I'll let you comment, and then I'll give you my thoughts on what he said, and then we'll share a couple of quick stories. I'll see if you guys have any other thoughts to wrap up today's show. You listen to the Martin Houston Show, and hey, listen, we're able to do this because we got great sponsors, and go check out one of them, Southmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show, southmarkdesign.com.
High 100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we have a report of two wrecks on the interstate eastbound, one at exit 77, one at exit 76. Significant delays on the interstate and on US 11. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Get a $6,000 instant discount on all Nissan Titans and the heavy-duty Titan XD, plus 0% interest for up to 60 months at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray. Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread. Good Tuesday morning. There's another threat for severe weather today. It's like 2 in 5 risk of strong to severe storms with 60 miles per hour winds, quarter-size hail south of Analysville to Tuscaloosa to Centerville line. There is a lesser marginal 1 in 5 risk north of that line. These thunderstorms will contain some significant lightning. Lightning during storms yesterday killed a man in Florence. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather. It's free. Don Hartwig, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt. You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness. Lee Sam thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good, until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store. Now I can wear the shoes that I picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable. Good Feet relieves her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Come see us at 1800 McFarland Boulevard or goodfeet.com. The sound of Bama sports. 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Martin and Xavier, it's now time for the Harvest Church 2-minute warning. It is all about loving God and loving people, and I invite you to join us on tomorrow for a time of worship and the word at 6:30. We have a meal at 6 o'clock. We'd love to have you. And if you can't make it on tomorrow, join us on Sunday, 9 o'clock, Bible study time, worship and the word at 10. Harvest Church, loving God, loving people. Would love to have you. Come on out and be a part of the good time, because we've got everything ready to be our guest. Harvest Church, love God, love people. All right, DC, X, a couple quick things there. Reese actually, I think he said it quickly in passing because he's a room full of Alabama folk. I think he picked Michigan to be number one at this time. He said he kind of threw that caveat out as his number one team to see if they can finally get over the hump. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to hold on. But to me, X, I'll let you respond. He seems to be bullish on the fact that he said the best rosters in the league are both Georgia and Alabama. And he's one of the first people I've heard flat out say he's not completely sold that Georgia's going to run away with it, and Georgia has replaced Alabama long term, because Georgia has an issue at quarterback. X.
No, I agree, because you're looking at the same situation that Alabama has. Why is Georgia getting more love? I mean, they lost a lot off of that defense for the second year in a row. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where they're in the position that Alabama has been in, and so I kind of get it. But nobody's talking about their quarterback race.
Yeah, and I think
change the coordinators.
Do it now. Yeah, and I
or
think
change coordinator.
Changing coordinator. They have a really drop off in on the defensive side of the ball and attrition for the last 2 years. They've changed offensive coordinators and they have a quarterback race, and no one's talking about them the way they're talking about Alabama. And it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at the situation, I think Kennington points it out. He says that Georgia is just more established at the skill positions around the quarterback, and I will give him that. And so and he said that Saturday that was his big takeaway, that our skill position has a little work to do, because Georgia brought in Missouri and Mississippi State number one receivers, guys who could be number one receivers at those schools. That's who Georgia has, plus the best tight end in the country. And so that may be the difference right now, is that Beck's throwing to those guys. But if Malik Benson, I think Burton's going to have a turnaround, guys. Hey, DC, you heard it here first. The Killer Bees, Alabama's version of the Killer Bees. You know who it is?
Brooks, Benson, and Bond.
And Burton. Is that not crazy?
Burton, okay.
We got we got a whole slew of bees on our in our wide receiver core. Killer Bees and company, I think, are going to step up and help Milroe and company. So that's a neat thing. Just a couple other quick questions for you, DC and company. The last night, I thought this is a quick sidebar for you that didn't hear it. Last night, Terry Jones, for you guys who may or may not know the whole Terry Jones history, Terry Jones was legit, All-American, you'll get a kick out of this, All-American, coming back, all preseason All-American, preseason All-SEC, and Coach Bryant moved him, said, hey, I need you to move to defensive line from center. Because there's a guy named Dwight Stevens, and we're going to play at center. And so he said he moved. But DC, what was his response? He said if he was playing in 2023, what would have happened?
He said if he had that NIL stuff and that transfer portal, he'd be gone. That's what would happen.
I thought that was the greatest. I thought that was the greatest response I think I've ever heard to tell people the difference between college football then and now. He said,
My favorite was when he said the reality was his mom said, "Well, you quit football, you come home and go to the factory." He said, "I think I'll just stay."
That was great.
Well, think about that for just a minute. You got an all American playing at center, and a coach comes to you and says, "Hey, we want to move you to the other side of the ball for this season because Dwight Stevenson is going to be all world at that position." First of all, to have Coach Bryant be able to see that in a person, and to know that Terry Jones had the character to accept it, and then go on to play in the NFL, 8 years in the NFL at a position. That's unbelievable when you think about it. Similar to what Coach Saban did for Trayvon Diggs.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I know you want to be his, but we got a great receivers behind you. And look at all those receivers that he had to compete against. I'm going to move you over here to cornerback. I think it's going to be best for you. And now he's cashing in the NFL at a position that he didn't even want to play.
$100 million man.
Called his brother.
$95 million.
Yeah.
Similar situation there. Still, it's a different time now. They probably didn't have NIL transfer portal big when Diggs did either, but still character is what makes the difference. In those situations.
It's character on both sides. It's the character of the player, but it's also the coach. The character of Saban and Coach Bryant to be able to do that. But yeah, I thought that was great. Another quick TJ story is one of the greatest stories I think I've ever heard. I had not heard this story. Just to show you how different the sideline decorum has changed. There was two guys in the last number, like say 53 and 63. One of the guys eating a hot dog on the sideline, wore number 3. Someone calls and tells the coach that one of his players is eating a hot dog on the sideline. Now, Terry Jones has started.
Green Bay Packers coach.
Green Bay Packers, okay? This is in the pros. 3. He's eating a hot dog. And the next day, he started all 5 preseason games. The next day, he comes in and his locker is cleaned out. And the guy tells him, the Hatchet coach says, go see, I think it was Coach Stark. He said, your pilot light is going out. And he goes in and he gets cut.
Oh, wow.
And was it 12 hours?
Drove 12 hours back to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. Okay. And when he knocks on the door and walks in the house, his wife says, hey, they made a mistake. They cut the wrong guy. and he said, I ain't going back. Now, that shows you the difference between the days of cell phones and text messages right there, baby. But think about that, though. Talking about, and what I loved about that was TJ talked about getting his mom came in and she said, I'm calling coach. And he said, call coach, I ain't going back. And said his wife picked up the phone and called coach. And he said, the coach, she called with my mama. And mama said, you get back up there. Needless to say, he went back up there and had another, 4 years. Another 5, because that was his 4th. That would have been because they cut you after 3. He thought it got cut because the 4th year would have been retirement. But anyway, that was just a couple of neat stories from last night, and there's a lot more. But what I love most about it was that he talked about having to bend over and help his mom relight the pilot light, and it got him down on his knees and humbled him and how appreciative he was, and having to bend down and help someone else along the way. And so it was just a great story last night. DC, 30 seconds. Tell people real quick.
Well, the thing I got out of last night with Jerry Jones was his foxhole story. That story is a great story. And now that you understand how I've heard all these people I'm on football talk about who's got your back, who's going to be in the hole with you. And he's kind of permeated that throughout a whole list of people who come through University of Alabama through the strength and conditioning program. It's a very good night all around.
Yeah, you better know who's in the foxhole with you. And if you don't have anybody in the foxhole with you, go out and find someone. And I love the fact that the first person in my foxhole is Jesus. And then from there, I got my wife, my family, my friends in my foxhole with me. And hey, and I appreciate all you out there. Thanks, X, for being with me. Thanks, DC, for being on. Thanks, Noah, for helping me out. Hey, listen, I'm Martin Houston. This is the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports, fastest hour in sports radio, the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Have a blessed, prosperous, and successful day.
Martin Houston,